Hey, how you doing? It's your boy Brogi Naric, back again with another review. And in this video, going to be talking about the Book of Boba Fett, which recently finished up its 7 episode season on Disney Plus. We're going to get into it. We're going to be talking a couple of non-spoilers, and then it's going to go full spoilers later on in the video. If you want to skip to that, they'll be in the time description. So now, the Book of Boba Fett. It's kind of like a spin-off, or as we eventually found out, a continuation of the Mandalorian series that's also on Disney Plus, the awesome The Mandalorian series. And in the second season, Boba Fett came back. It was awesome. It's a great episode. And then at the end of the season, they were like, hey, we're going to do the Book of Boba Fett. And we're going to see badass Boba Fett taking over the throne of Jabba the Hutt, who's dead, but he's going to be now this new crime lord, this new badass crime lord. And it's like, okay, cool. That sounds dope. I'm not the biggest fan of the Boba Fett character because he doesn't really do anything in the movies. I know he has a long history in the side stories and some of the cartoons and all that. And that's cool. I get that. I understand. I understand the mythos of the badassery of the character. But in the Disney live action, especially, well, in the movies and especially Disney live action, he ain't really done a hell of a lot except for mainly The Mandalorian and some of the Clone Wars as well. And this show doesn't really build off of much of that great history of the character. It really goes out of its way to kind of retroactively change the character because they really want Boba Fett to be more of like a stoic hero as opposed to a mob boss, which is what we thought we were getting. We thought he was going to go more like a Kingpin, Tony Montana, Tony Soprano sort of way. That's not what we got. We basically got like almost like a guy from the streets coming into a village to become like a new protector, which is interesting, but that's not what I necessarily wanted from Boba Fett. And as the show went on, the character just didn't feel right, and he felt almost like a side character in his own show once a certain character popped up. I think you know who that character was, and really just hijacked the show. It was a weird structure of the show, but it was overall it was okay. Like it wasn't great. I wouldn't say it was god awful, especially towards the end where it got better. It started off pretty cool. A lot of flashbacks to Boba and how he survived the Sarlacc pit, filling in the gaps of what happened before he popped up in The Mandalorian Season 2. And then once that was done, it was kind of just this weird drag-on story of him saying he wants to be like a crime boss or take the role of a crime boss, but not really wanting to do any crime. Like he was very anti-crime for the most part. Barely killed people. He was anti-cursing or being rude to people for some reason. I didn't know that was one of his traits. He was like an animal lover, even though we know he's trained with animals, but we never saw him as an animal lover. But I guess he's an animal lover now. And yeah, it was just odd. Like Tamir Morrison, who reprised the role as Boba Fett. I didn't hate him in the role. I think the acting was a little stiff, but I think that was also because they wanted the character to be that way. But he wasn't ruthless. Like I wanted a more ruthless side to him, but he kind of just got rid of all of that. And I guess him training earlier on might have been the reason for that. I didn't. It didn't really even surviving that experience. I don't know would have made him more of a less ruthless guy, but whatever. But I want to say the MVP of the show is definitely Fennec Shan, played by Ming-Na Wen. She was the best character in the show. She did all the cool shit that Boba Fett was too bored or too dumb to do. Basically, a lot of the killing, coming up with the plans. Whenever Boba Fett would do something stupid, she would be the one like, well, shouldn't we like kill this guy or shouldn't we do some sort of dope-ass gangster move to let them know to not fuck with us? And Boba would just stand there and be like, no, I think it'll all work out. And then, of course, it wouldn't work out because he's an idiot. So if you're enjoying the video, don't forget to hit the like button, share this, and subscribe to the channel. The more likes it get, the more it gets pushed in the algorithm to get seen. We're still growing and we could use your help, so thanks for doing so. Now let's get back to the review. Now, the crazy thing is this show had, with all these sort of negatives, the show had the same showrunners and creators and writers of The Mandalorian. But like I said, somehow this just hit different. I don't know. They just had an off writing session or something, because they definitely dips in quality kind of midway, and then it picks back up midway. Like I said, when a certain character pops in. We also got 3 episodes that were directed by Robert Rodriguez. Now, look, I like Robert Rodriguez. I don't love Robert Rodriguez because his work, I think, is very hit or miss. He was the one who directed that episode where Boba came back in The Mandalorian. I think it was rumored that it was supposed to be James Mangold, but he couldn't make it. So Robert got the job. So I'm happy for him. He got the job, and then he got to continue on this series. But I will say, 3 episodes that he did directed were most of the weaker ones, especially episode 3, which was a rough episode. We'll get into that in spoilers. So, but he did his thing. Some of the action felt slower when he was directing it. Some of it looked a little cheaper, which is kind of his thing. He's prides himself on making cheap movies look sort of decent. Not great, but sort of decent. And, it was, I don't know if it was a great fit, but, it is what it is. But things that are like, the music was good. Most of the special effects were really good. The action was, like I said, sort of hit or miss. Some of the humor was hit or miss. There was some of the humor that kind of felt very sort of prequel-y, and then some of it was just kind of okay-ish, and some of it was good. Like I said, the action was decent to pretty good. And but yeah, it was an all right show, all in all. As I talk about my favorite episode, of course, is episode 5, The Return of the Mandalorian. This is the one where the Mandalorian returns to take over the series. Awesome episode. Get to it in spoilers, but overall, if I were to give my grade of the Book of Boba Fett season 1, God, please let it just be season 1. Because after that finale, when we saw who we had left as the main character, I don't need nothing else. I don't need another season. Just give me a cameo. I don't even need another season of this shit. But for a grade, I would give it a C+ or a 6.5 out of 10. Slightly above average, like okay. Now I know certain Star Wars fans are loving the hell out of this because they love everything Star Wars. Certain Star Wars fans are shitting on it because they hate Star Wars. So of course you got to shit on it. And I'm right there in the middle. There's some decisions that they made towards the end that I were like, certain deaths that happened. I'm like, don't think that was the right decision, but it is what it is. And it was weird because once the show was over, I was just happy it was over. Like that kind of tells me how I felt about the show. It's like I wasn't like, damn, I can't wait for the next Boba Fett adventure. It's like, no, I want the next Mandalorian season right the fuck now. And Boba Fett can just stay over there. Like I don't need to see Tatooine for at least another good 2 years. I know I'm not because fucking Obi-Wan's coming out in May, so it's gonna be all Tatooine all the time. So here we go. But yeah, those are my non-spoilery thoughts on the Book of Boba Fett. And now, stay tuned if you want to get into some spoilers. So, spoilers. So yeah, the first couple of episodes were cool. Like we get more of the flashbacks, him getting out of the Sarlacc pit, which was cool. Him getting captured and tortured by the Tusken Raiders, kind of turning into the sort of like a sci-fi version of Dances with Wolves. He's hanging with the natives. Eventually, he decides to help them, and they help him, and he learns their culture, and he learns how the new fighting style and all that. Like that shit was cool. Them taking out the bikers, them taking out the train to stop the drug trade going through their lands. That was a good sequence. Him killing the bikers. That was all interesting shit. Even though it eventually led to them getting killed, which was pretty fucked up. But yeah, but like I said, that some of that shit was cool. But the coolest character, the MVP of the show, even though Mando popped up and fucking Luke popped up, and Grogu popped up, and Ahsoka Tano popped up. Holy hell. The MVP of the show from beginning to end was Fennec Shand, played by Ming-Na Wen. She was the best character from beginning to end, because she was the character that was actually talking some sense. She actually was calling out Boba on his bullshit. She was doing most of the action when Boba was, once again, too lazy and bored to do anything. She was awesome, and she had the most bodies, surprisingly. Not Boba Fett. Fennec Shand had the most bodies. She was just the sniping everybody. It should have been her show, honestly. It was a weird vibe. It very much reminded me of Iron Fist on Netflix, where the main character was fucking lame, but the female lead, the side character, was the most interesting character in the show, did the most interesting stuff, talked the most sense, should have had her own show. And that's kind of what I would compare this. I would compare this to Iron Fist, yeah. And Iron Fist is not good, so that's kind of how I really feel about Boba Fett. But it definitely pivoted midway, which was a weird, like I said in my non-spoiler review, weird how they structured this show, where they deliberately had all these flashbacks. They drug it out. I think some of the flashbacks were a little drugged out. That could have been 2 episodes instead of ultimately 4 that they dragged out those flashbacks. But as the show went on, it got to episode 3, The Streets of Mos Espa, and that was the episode that broke the show's back. It really did. It had a Danny Trejo cameo as a Rancor trainer, which of course Robert Rodriguez is gonna get his boy in there. I'm not mad at that. I love Danny Trejo. They had what's his name? Stephen Root was in it. That was cool. Plays like a crooked water baron. But what was the stuff that happened in this? So you get Black Chewbacca, the Black Chrysanthemum. I'm gonna just call him Black Chewbacca because he was a fucking waste of time. Overall, he was pointless. He was a pointless, useless side character. We get introduced to the fucking Power Rangers, cyberpunk teens, pointless fucking characters. And then we also have the nightclub owner played by Jennifer Beals. There was a bunch of pointless characters in this. The fucking cyberpunk kids, Black Chewbacca, and the nightclub owner. And the Hutts to a degree. Although they were the ones that brought us Black Chewbacca, but wasted, just there to be there, no real effect on the story. The sequence when he first, Black Chewbacca breaks in, just walks into the palace and beats the shit out of Boba. It was kind of cool initially, but like, as a lot of people point out, it was shot kind of weird and awkwardly slow at times. And there's a moment where he should have beaten the shit out of Boba Fett, like he hits him. Not just a Wookiee hit punching a guy, but he had like fucking electric brass knuckles. Boba should have been with his head knocked off. He was breaking the man's back. It was ridiculous. And then the teens came in and they got over him. It was ridiculous. And then he's captured, and then Boba lets him go free instead of like either killing him, something ruthless, or forcing him into a life debt. Like, well, you tried, you failed, but now you're gonna work for me. Like, that would have been more interesting, just letting him go, and then literally 2 episodes later, he just rehires him, or he just hires him as muscle. That was weird. I don't know why they structured it like that, but okay. And of course, we get the infamous meme where the fucking cyberpunk Power Rangers get on their fucking hover Vespas and do a very boring and kind of slowly paced chase through town to capture the mayor's what's his name? The aide, which actually was a less pointless character than fucking Chewbacca, Black Chewbacca, and the Rangers. He actually affected the story in various ways, more so than those two did. So yeah, ridiculous. That was the one that broke the camel's back. That was the one where people was like, I don't know, I'm not feeling this. Episode 4 was the one when he goes back to the Sarlacc pit to get his armor, which ultimately didn't make sense because he knew he used the armor to get out of the pit. So why would the armor be back in the pit when he goes back there? That was weird. But he does kill the Sarlacc. Well, he kind of kills it. Fennec Shand was the one that kills it because she was the one that shot the bomb inside of the monster's mouth while Boba just sat there piloting the ship. But anyway, and the crazy thing is, I didn't take a lot of notes for the first part of the episodes because I didn't think it was all that interesting or necessary. But then, of course, episode 5 happened, and I took some notes. Mando comes in, This episode was great, the best episode. The Return of the Mandalorian, directed by Bryce Dallas Howard. She's awesome. Mando shows up in the meatpacking district and just, slices some dudes with the fucking Darksaber. Awesome as shit. We learn more of him struggling to use the Darksaber because he's not one with the Force, so it's not working for him that well. I like that. It gives him a little more of vulnerability because, you don't want him to seem like he's like a walking tank all the time with his, Beskar armor and now he's got a lightsaber and shit. So yeah, and then there was some other stuff where he gets the spear and turns it into a present for his son Grogu. And it's like, what was it? And it turns out it's like a little chainmail vest shirt, which is nice. Because I was like, if he gets him like a full-on suit, that's going to be ridiculous. But I'm glad they didn't do that. He also goes back to Tatooine. He runs into the mechanic, Palimoto, and they basically take one of the Naboo NF starfighters, and reworks it and makes it into a new ship for him. And you knew what was going to happen when they had the little dome in the back. It's like, oh yeah, that's the cockpit for Grogu. And I must say, it was adorable when he was in it. And the end of the Mandalorian was the main focus at the end of the Boba Fett series finale. But anyway, 6 was another one. The danger from the desert comes a stranger. That was the one directed by Dave Filoni. We get Cobb Vanth back, played by Timothy Oliphant. Him being, sheriff of Freetown. We see Grogu training with Luke. We see, which I was not expecting to see as much of Luke as we did. I was not expecting to see Grogu. Like, all that Mandalorian shit, I was not expecting. And, like, the whole him giving the present, I thought they was going to save that for season 3. Nope. Next episode, we get to see Ahsoka Tano. We get to, which I was not expecting. That came the fuck out of nowhere. And, Grogu wanting to, Mando wanting to give Grogu his present, wanting to see him. And they're like, don't do it because, you can fuck up his training. We're seeing little Grogu walk in and Luke using the Force to move him along. That was adorable. The Luke special effects look way better than it did at the end of the season 2 finale of Mandalorian. The lip syncing is still a little off, and the voice, if you don't know now, the voice is computer generated. It's not Mark Hamill. It's just a hodgepodge of different quotes and voice patterns from Mark Hamill to make it sound like Mark Hamill. It doesn't sound like Mark Hamill. It's a little distracting. They just recast him. Sebastian Stan's right there. He wants to do it. He's marketable. Just recast Luke, especially if you want to keep using Luke. So I wouldn't mind seeing like some Luke side adventures. That would be cool. Just recast the character. You already recasted Han Solo in what's his name? Lando Calrissian. Just recast Luke if you want to use him. But that's pretty much all I have to say about that. And of course, Luke has to. He gives Grogu an ultimatum. Do you want to be a Jedi or do you want to be a Mandalorian? And I thought they were going to save that for like the season premiere of The Mandalorian season 3. But once again, this is the Mandalorian. The Book of Boba Fett is The Mandalorian season 2.5. So next episode, In the Name of Honor, the finale, which again was directed by Robert Rodriguez. We get Boba Fett, trying to be the mob boss, and he's at this club that got bombed out, and he's there trying to hold it down. He's thinking that the townspeople from Freetown are coming to help because Mando convinced the sheriff. But I forgot to mention, previous episode, sheriff got shot the fuck up by Cad Bane because Cad Bane is a badass. This was the live action appearance of Cad Bane, a badass bounty hunter who was created in the Clone Wars cartoon, and he's like the mentor of Boba Fett. He's one of the guys that helped train Boba Fett. So he's like he's an old alien bounty hunter, kind of got that Lee Van Cleef sort of vibe. And he pulls up on Cobb, shoots him and his deputy. And I was kind of like, I wasn't sure if he was dead or not. But in the next episode, they kind of make you think that, yeah, he's dead, which was like, oh, fuck, why would you do that? Like, he's a good character. Get more into that later. So the next episode, they're surrounded. Black Chewbacca and the Power Rangers are fucking useless. They get jumped. The Chewbacca gets jumped by fucking lizards. They get shot up by some townspeople. Fennec Shand comes in and saves their asses because once again she's the most proactive character in this show. And so, yeah, they get into a shootout. The townspeople come in and help them out. We do get a cool moment where Boba and Mando are back to back with the jetpacks shooting it out, and in the streets holding it down, and then they're getting attacked, and then that's when the townspeople come in to help them out. And that was, nice. We also see, Luke's X-Wing flies in and fucking Grogu's in it. And I'm like, oh shit, did he make his decision? Because I was not expecting this. Once again, I thought that was going to be in the premiere of Mando Season 3. I was wrong once again. So Grogu's there. He's hanging out with the mechanic. As the fight's going down, you're holding it down, and then the fucking Pikes. Oh, I haven't even mentioned the Pikes. The Pikes are trash. I don't care about the Pikes. They're these evil fish gangster guys. They're lame. That's a problem I'm starting to notice with some of these Disney Plus shows, whether it's Star Wars or the Marvel stuff. Some of these villains are very forgettable or unnecessary. The Pikes very much remind me of the Flag Smashers in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, where it's like everything else in the show is interesting and cool, but the actual main threat and villains I don't give a shit about. They're very basic, very bland. That's how I felt about the Pikes. Anyway, the Pikes send in these big ass droids with guns on them who also have force fields. Cool. Problem is, the big ass droids are literally walking down the street. Mando sees them, Boba sees them. Boba has a fucking rocket on his back. He has literally like a minute, or like a full minute and a half maybe, before the robots activate their force shields to fire his rocket. And I was watching it. He literally fires his rocket a minute after they put the force shields up. And then he's like, oh shit, the rocket, it didn't work. And I'm like, it's a force shield. And that was the other thing that pissed me off. Everyone in the show continuously keeps shooting at the robots with their laser guns. Like they don't know how force fields work. They live in the world of Star Wars. That shit's not gonna work. And they're like, well, it's going too fast and it's going too slow. We gotta, the fucking Black Chewbacca tries to push through it, but it's hurting them because it's a fucking force field. Like, it's like, do y'all not know how force fields work? Like, that made no fucking sense to me. So they keep shooting at it, hoping it'll work. Eventually, Boba flies away. He comes back. He's on the Rancor because they set that up. He's riding on the Rancor, and then it turns into like a kaiju fight. The Rancor is fighting one of the droids, and eventually, Mando's got the dark saber, and they break it up. And then Grogu's there, and he uses the Force to break the leg, and then they take it out. And then the other droid is attacking the Cyberpunks and the Freetown soldiers, and Mando comes in once again with the Rancor. I think, it was the Rancor. He comes in with the Rancor, and he beats the shit out of it again. And then Cad Bane pulls up, and he gets rid of the Rancor. He takes out the Rancor, gets the Rancor away from Boba with his flamethrower, and so they have a standoff. They have a quick standoff, a little shootout, and Cad Bane, of course, is the better shooter, so Boba gets shot, and he's about to kill Boba, telling him, like, my final lesson is, only care about yourself, don't, worry about others. And then Boba, somewhere, I don't know where he was holding it. I think maybe it was on his back and I didn't notice, but he pulls out that fucking Tusken Raider staff and takes him down, and then stabs him and kills Cad Bane, which I thought was not the right decision. He's one of the few cool characters you have, and this was like his first appearance in live action, and now he's dead. That was a waste. I thought that was a waste. They could bring him back. It's Star Wars, but I thought that was a waste of the character. And yeah, lame. So while that's done, over on the other side of town, like 2 blocks away, I would say 4 blocks away, the fucking Rancor is going crazy, and they have no one to tame it. It would be nice if his master was able to tame it, because it's not like he's doing anything now that he killed his fucking mentor, but whatever. The Rancor is going crazy. And this is the other thing that kind of annoyed me about the Rancor. Literally, when they're fighting, Boba's like, we have to destroy, I think it was Boba. He was like, we have to destroy the 2 droids because those 2 droids could destroy the town. Surprisingly, it's the Rancor that actually does the most damage. Whether it was on when Boba was controlling or when he wasn't controlling, the Rancor does the most damage to the town. So, once again, Boba's a fucking idiot. Mando hops on the Rancor. He tries to control it. He can't. And it's up to Grogu, who comes in and uses the Force to make it go to sleep, and then they fall asleep and cuddle up. That was adorable sequence. So while that's going on, we see a shot of Fennec Shand, who actually does the real work. Besides all the silly shit, she actually kills all the mob bosses that betrayed Boba. She just snipes them, and then I think she like hung the main pipe dude. So yeah, once again, Fennec Shand, MVP of the show. Boba now runs Tatooine. He's like the king of Tatooine, I guess, because the mayor is also dead, and he's kind of iffy if he wants that job, even though that kind of seemed like what he was working towards the entire series. But whatever. And he's left with his ragtag team of useless assholes besides Fennec Shand. And like I said, the Boba Fett show ends with the Mandalorian and Grogu drag racing in space. Adorable, but kind of weird. And then, of course, we get an end credit scene where we see that Cobb Vanth is in Boba's Bantha tank, and Thundercat, the cybernetic guy, he's played by the artist Thundercat. He's going to turn him into a cyborg. Hopefully, he won't become lame once he becomes one of the cyberpunks, and hopefully, he'll have some Beskar armor parts to kind of fill in the Boba Fett armor that he doesn't have. That'd be cool. He's basically going to be RoboCop. He's going to be RoboCop. So that might be fun in the next season. But yeah, those are my spoilers for the Book of Boba Fett and my review overall. Once again, it was pretty mid, especially seeing that it was made by the same people who did The Mandalorian. Now I'm a little more worried about the other shows. I'm a little more worried about Obi-Wan, which we've heard some rewrites. They had to do a couple of rewrites for that show, so we'll see how that goes. I'm a little more worried about Ahsoka Tano, a little more worried about the future of the Star Wars franchise, even more so, because it showed that it can waver. Like, it's not... Well, it showed that Mando is Star Wars. The Mandalorian is the path for good Star Wars. You stray too far away from that path, it's going to get wobbly. So that's the thing we learned with this show. So hopefully Ahsoka Tano can, be another pillar for the new direction of Star Wars. Hopefully the Obi-Wan show does well. Hopefully the Acolytes is interesting. We haven't heard too much about that. The Cassian Andor show, which I'm not excited about that, but maybe that'll be good. But we'll see. But those are my thoughts on the Book of Boba Fett. Let me know what you thought about the series in the comments. Once again, don't forget to like, share, subscribe to the channel, and to stay tuned for more videos. Peace.